Welcome to Tavern Talks. Today we're going to be doing our video on the MRA tier list today. Julius, would you like to introduce yourself?
It's me, your boy Julius, coming back at it again. Uh, um, you might know me for as the champion of the first championship. That just sounds wrong. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about the Monsters Rights Association faction. Their application to the current metagame and their place in newer decks like when you just upgrading your starter deck and the whatnot.
Yeah, first off, I would like to say that we are still using the same method from the DM tier list of using like SS and what F and means. So I also want to say that how MRA actually works because it is a little bit confusing for new players to get their head grasped around. It is like a weird faction. So basically, when any of these cards say mobilize, you have a reserve that you can put one card in every turn to gain one mana for that turn. If a card says mobilize 2, I like to think of it as saying mobilize a 2 mana. So you're mobilizing a 2 mana from your reserve and putting it on the field, basically. Julius, do you have anything more to explain on the MRA
Um,
faction?
well, the thing about the MRA faction is that what it's doing, it's giving up that solid that sort of solid consistent damage and like just board presence of a DM like Gun Hunt for just raw explosive power. Like it's the most, I think it's the most, in general, the most aggressive of the factions. In terms of the decks that people commonly play in them.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the
you're
decks
saying?
in MRA are usually mostly either aggro focused or they focus around Wings of Vindication, they focus around control, or they focus around glow promotion most of the time. So board presence is usually the precedent here of what you're trying to get on. You're trying to ramp into fast things to get higher mana costs. So you can play like two 1 manas first turn, or you can play 2 manas first turn. You can get really good value from Riotous Recruitment. Anything else you would want to say about the faction, Julius?
No, not really. I think we should just get right into it with Acidic Overlord.
Okay, so Acidic Overlord is a 9 mana that's a 6/6 that's an ooze that on entrance if you control a ooze, another ooze, which is really important to remember that you have to have an ooze on board to activate this effect, it mobilizes a 5 or a 6. So a 5 or a 6 mana comes from your reserve. And then at the end of your turn when you have him, this is what really makes Acidic Overlord special. It summons a ooze, which is this guy right here. It's just a regular ooze that has a 1/1 for every of your friendly ooze, which it does include itself, by the way. So have you have two acidic overlords on the field and your opponent can't get rid of them, it's really good. Julius, would you
Yeah.
like to say?
Well, this is sort of the linchpins of the ooze archetype currently.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that ooze is another deck
Yeah,
people make their decks
yeah.
around.
To summarize, at the end of the turn, it makes a 1/1 ooze and gives every one of your oozes a +1/+1.
Yeah. So basically, with him, if you want to play him to the best of your ability, you're going to want to play lots of oozes. He really combos off for Zealous Ooze very well. I really like playing these two. They're probably the best of the ooze archetype right now. Because,
Yeah,
like, Gelatinous is a lot of mana for what it is. Gorging Jelly is a risky play. What else? Union of Monsters can summon an ooze, but it's not that good at it. ooze stuff is there.
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. The best ones are Acidic Overlord and Zealous Ooze, though. If you're
Yeah.
running ooze, you're running both of those.
I
But
I I um I don't know. I haven't played against a lot of the excuse me, a lot of these ooze decks. It's always felt like it's not like Bones where it's like the thing they're doing. It's more like one of the ways they win the game after they've flopped the Magi on the field or similar.
yeah, it's generally it's like a control base. It's kind of feels a lot like what Bones is doing, but a little worse right now because just Bone has so much power right now that it just gets outpaced. But the weaknesses of the Ooze deck is that your opponent can uh, Spring Trap or they can Mob Rule your Acidic Overlord, and then your whole like generation of oozes is gone.
Well, speaking further on that, I would say that it's also sort of difficult just in general to play MRA in a more controlling style against a more aggressive list like Mastery. Because you don't have that safe, reliable power of a DM to sort of uh, take out some of their early game creatures and prevent flyers from being a pain in your side. So you have to work a lot harder for I like to I think somewhat less reward personally, and I think
Yeah,
that's one of the problems that that playing controlling MRA sort of faces. Yeah.
yeah, I do feel like the DMs right now are just too powerful to like having a two permanent two attack on your field that has ranged has so much more value than getting an extra mana for a turn in most situations.
Agreed.
But the ooze, it's lackluster right now, but it is a fun deck to play around with. I would say it kind of falls flat. I would say it's probably an A. Um,
Yeah, that's I guess. Yeah.
it's not. If I guess if you compare it to some other A's that we've ranked, what other stuff would we
Well,
put in A?
it feel I would you call it sub meta? Because I
Yeah,
think that's what we agreed that B sort of was, right? Like it's tavern viable, but sort of out of the general meta.
yeah. It's
I
like
think
it can work, but it is not as strong as you would think. But it can give you tons of board presence that you can just keep on attacking every turn. If they don't kill it and you can get that first effect off, it's actually pretty good. But it is really slow. So it's got that downside. But
yep.
it summons these little slime guys. It's not the same as this because it doesn't gain the 1/1. Okay. But next we have Zealous Ooze. This card it's a 5 mana 4/4 that if it's discarded to the reserves, it summons a Lonely Ooze. So this guy right here. Summons that guy right there. And then summons the 1/1 with that gains another 1/1 for another ooze. Which you gotta keep in mind this only gains one. It doesn't gain more than that. It doesn't scale based on the amount you have. It's
If you
just
control another ooze, if it was
yeah.
like that, it would say for each ooze you control.
Yeah, that's something I didn't see right away. Whenever I started playing
God,
the
that would have
game.
been not then that would have been it. Honestly, as far as potential buffs go, that doesn't seem like a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean that might be too much though.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, allow me to simply slap on, put this card in my reserve and summon a free. Yeah, might be a bit cracked,
Yeah,
but like
they're
everything else is kind of cracked though. Who is to say?
well, I say that because they would probably gain like 9/9 when you have a full board.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So like bone amalgams.
yeah, the problem with Ooze, it doesn't have any ranged either. You have to sacrifice your ranged to be able to get the most of your oozes, but you don't have any. There's no ranged ooze in the game right now, so you
That would be
can't.
weird. From a flavor perspective, would that even work? Like that
Uh, I don't
that
know.
I don't think oozes should have range. That doesn't make any sense.
You think
Like
that
how would
should be
that
their weakness, like their
I
biggest
think
weakness?
like well from a like oh yeah this ooze that's like a mindless droid on the floor that can't think. Yes, this will be go up and reach my Skywatcher Sentry. That's ridiculous. I don't think that would work.
No, no,
But
you have it like like it controls like a another flyer. It like control. It's like there's an ooze like taking over like a flyer or something. Like I'm thinking of like the flood in Halo, that kind of thing.
man, yeah, I guess. But it's like they'll have to finagle that because like inherently oozes seem like a concept
Or
that just
or
wouldn't work for Reachers.
or you just have it so that it like shoots like an ooze spike. Like it looks like Zealous Ooze would do that, you know? That looks like how Zealous Ooze attacks, right? But
It
no, it just slaps its head forward.
like honestly, I the ra- the first part like giving allowing the thing to strike first makes nah. It's
Okay.
just like spikes makes me think of striking first. I don't know, man.
But it does do
But
the it
yeah.
does on entrance, it summons a copy of itself where its stats half to itself. So it summons a 2/2 basically. I think there may be a situation where that actually matters that it's half, but I don't know.
I don't think they're like
Unless
what?
I guess with the new faction it would matter if you buff it in your hand.
All right, yeah, man. I don't know. But this feels like one of those things that's not complete yet necessarily, but
Yeah,
maybe in the future we'll get some support.
it definitely feels like incomplete, even though they did add more stuff. It's not fully there yet, in my opinion.
It went from being just a single card to that didn't actually do any tribal to now it's like sort of there, but it's not great.
I would say it's there up with Acidic Overlord. If you're running
Yeah,
them, you run them together because
sure.
these two combo well together really well. Because you can just throw this in the reserve to bring out Acidic Overlord, and then Acidic Overlord mobilizes him, and then he copies himself and makes half. So you'll summon a 4/4 at the end of your turn.
Yep.
Okay, and then next we have Bighorn Packbeast. This is a classic. It's a 4 mana multi-blocker with 2/6 that's immobilizing X where X is the damage. So basically, whatever damage he takes from his health, it's mobilized, and then if it doesn't mobilize, it does damage to your opponent. So like if it's
And it's multi-blocker.
yeah, it's multi-blocker too, so it's a really defensive unit that can punish your opponent for attacking. So people don't attack
Yeah.
as much when you play this. So I would say you run it whenever you want to stop your opponent from attacking as much and you want to stall the game more.
I actually have some points on this card. This card, like I like this card, but I've actually recently moved away from it. Believe it or not. Uh, and, okay, so I used to play this in Mastery, but like in the current state of Mastery, I think you should if you're running the optimal list, I think you should cut it. Uh, so let's take the mirror for example, the Mastery mirror. Um, my opponent plays this on turn 4. I'm laughing all the way to the bank. Like I'm just like, okay, you've taken your turn off. Now I'm gonna play my Loyal Spell Shaper and a Dreadful Drain, and that's how my turn's gonna go. Uh, like the game plan of Mastery is put simply, early creatures, get in for much damage with them as you can. Then shell up and slowly try to poke at them with burn spells to kill them. And
Well,
and 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 this card sort of allows you to continue to do that in a sense.
yeah, I would say I agree. It's probably not a run in Mastery right now. Maybe you run it in like other decks where you want to just have something to splash in to hurt the really aggressive decks. Like
Yeah,
because the only thing they can do is Spring Trap it, but they only have so many Spring Traps, so yeah, it'll slow you down, but you can just play it again the next
I
turn.
mean, excuse me if I'm like, but like, is the damage that relevant in non-aggressive decks?
Well, you can still mobilize, but the damage is
There,
kind of relevant.
really? It's just I'd imagine something like ooze or whatever that it wouldn't that the damage wouldn't be that potent if you're
I
not
mean, I
putting an
mean,
assertive game plan.
I mean, you are doing 6 damage to your opponent for 4 mana, and then you're
I
also
guess.
encouraging them not to attack you. That's the biggest thing about this card. It makes your opponent change their plays so they don't attack you as much. So even if it's just sitting there, it's doing something. It may not look like it, but it is. It's intimidating your opponent. It's calling
It's
him
just standing there
menace.
menacingly. Yeah. Well, I think
Okay,
A feels good.
yeah, it feels good. It's really solid.
Upper A, like it's better than the other two.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
let's just.
we got
Oh
campaign
boy.
prep. Okay, so it's a 5 mana, and you can discard it to the reserves for. I think you still get the mana, but it does not get hit by Cry for Numbers. That's the big thing. It is a spell, so it hurts from being a spell. So you also can you draw a card for every 2 cards in your reserve. For 5 mana, just play Riotous Recruitment. You would have to have 8 cards in your reserve to draw 4 cards, which is one more than Riotous Recruitment. Just play Riotous. It's a terrible card right now. It needs changed. I think I was talking about with Avid one time, and having it 0 mana and then put itself in the reserve and then putting the top monster in your reserve in your deck into your reserve. I really like that idea for the card.
Yeah, right now it's just a waste of space, honestly.
Yeah. I would say F. You don't run it. It
Yeah,
it it
I've
comes in
never
too
put the
late. It comes in
I've
too
never put
late to be good.
yeah. I've never put this card in my deck, and I don't think I ever will in its current state.
Yeah, just don't run it. Just run Riotous. If you want drop power,
Mm,
go for Riotous.
moving on.
Okay, so we got Cry for Numbers. This is a 6 mana, and then it basically 6 times puts the first. It put okay. So basically, the first 6 cards in your deck, all the creatures it puts it in the reserve, and all the spells it puts in the graveyard. And then you gain 3 mana back for it. So this card, it's generally run in Wings decks because you want to be able to fill up your reserve really fast, and you don't care if there's like 4 mana that you can never get out of there because you want that in there anyways. But outside of that, it's kind of not great. You can, it's really luck based. You don't get much out of it if you don't hit, if you only hit like if you hit a bunch of spells, it's just kind of a waste of a card. And you have to wait
Um,
to be able to play it.
I mean, I've seen some people play this like in mastery to be like, oh boy, like half of mastery, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't really get that, but okay.
yeah, well, putting spells in your graveyard, there's the Zerathix just doesn't get enough mastery for that to even worth it. Like whoop-de-doo, you gain like 1 mastery
Let's
for
say
that
let's
much
say
mana.
it does like it gives you like 3 spells. That's like half a mastery, and you have to do that at turn 6, and you've spent 3 mana on it also. I'm like, no,
Yeah, it's not worth it. I never even considered that interaction.
it's some funny shit, but it's not that good.
Yeah, outside of wings, you don't run it, and even in wings, you don't really want to run it. sometimes you just feel like you want to just run Shredder Beast. But I would say it's like a C. It's actually I would say it's a B. It's probably a low B, but it has its use in wings, nothing else. Uh, okay, moving on. We have Dungeon Instigator. So this is a 1 mana 2/2 that on last word it mobilizes a 2 mana from your reserve. This is a really good card. Uh
When I
yeah.
when I remove this, without there being a drop, part of me feels like I got a deal like on it. Like, oh, buddy, I get to not have that be a thing, despite the fact that I spin a Dark Banner Blast to kill a 2/2. So it's like, got that threat alone is something to
Yeah,
think about.
if you think about it, this card, if you put a 2 mana in your reserve and then you play this card, you're playing a 1 mana and a 2 mana for 0 mana. Because you're getting the mana from the putting the 2 mana in the reserve, and then you can use that mana on this guy, and then when he dies, he brings out the 2 mana. So you're basically playing cards in your hand for free.
Yeah.
So it's really good. I would say it's an S. It depends on the deck. I would say it's really good when you can get that mobilize off, but even if you're playing it just for the stats, it's still good. But moving on, we have Energized Elemental. So this is a 3 mana amped that has 4/1, and then if it's mobilized, it gains 1/1, and then on last word, it deals 2 damage to your opponent. This card is nasty sometimes. Julius, would you like to talk about how nasty this
Like,
card can be?
Um, I don't play it much in my burn list. I've seen people like Last Resort argue that it's better than B. I do not see that, but it's like it does deal 2 damage in its defense. It deals 2 damage all of the time except when they pack beast and then you cry. But yeah, it's and that's not even talking about it in Burning Book, homie. But I think Wonky knows a little more about that.
Oh yeah, when you play, if you put 2 of these cards in a reserve and then a 2 mana, so I usually put like the B, where is it? This guy right here. The this B, not this B. It's completely different.
The cool bee.
But if you put that and 2 of these in the reserve, and then you play Riotous Recruitment, you'll get a solid 14 damage on board if your opponent can't block the 2 energized elementals. It's basically a death sentence. So like when this guy mobilizes, he'll be a 5/2. So if he doesn't if he gets this attack through, he has incredible value. If you can slap your opponent with that 4 attack or 5 attack, then it is a very good card. But if you can't and your opponent just like chump blocks it or whatever, then it's not that great. Dealing 2 damage for 3 mana, it's okay. But yeah, it combos really well with Riotous. But I would say it's like a solid A. It's a very, very solid card. Uh, any opinions on that, Julius?
Yep, that seems good. A feels not good for this card.
It doesn't feel over. It doesn't feel like S tier. Like you only really run it in aggro decks. It's a very aggro card.
Like basically only Burning Book.
Yeah, Burning Book really likes this card. I think that's funny how people have come up with that nickname for the deck.
It's a better nickname than Riotous Recruitment. The heck's that even supposed to mean? Like, bruh, like that tells me nothing. Burning Book is a good nickname because that's what it fucking is.
You're right. Burning Book.
Anyway, Chompy Munchy Man.
Yeah, yeah. He goes. He's the guy from Mario, right?
If you ain't watching the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, you're gonna turn into a Quality Enforcer, which is the next card we're gonna talk about.
Okay, so we got Equity Enforcer. So it's a 6 mana, 4/6 that has on entrance, if it's outnumbered, you kill your opponent's highest attack creature. So to keep in mind, you have to have actually two less. So the reason for that is it activates that ability after it's summoned. So you have to have two less creatures than your opponent for it to activate that effect.
Also, when it dies, if you're still outnumbered, you get to mobilize 4 or 5. Is it?
Yeah, that almost never comes into effect. The first part is what you're looking at for the most of the time. Sometimes, yeah, I guess you would get that, but I don't think I've had that happen like at all. It's kind of rare.
Huh, neat.
But you're mostly playing it to have it as a removal for your opponent's like Magi, their uh, highest attack, like the Relumbering Striker. The annoying thing is, it does hit Desperados very often. So it is a little situational. It does help you when you're losing, which I like. I like that. Well, I know losing board state. I mean, I guess that's tempo. I guess yeah. Like when
That
you're
it's like it's more like tempo is more like proactively asserting your board state. Like this card's more is more like you're like
you're recovering,
defensively.
you're
You're
recovering
you
from your
yeah.
lower board state.
That it's more like card advantage than it is tempo. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but I would say it's a solid A because like it does what it's doing pretty good. Uh, I would say it's actually a little better than the Gorging Jelly. These two are very comparable, I would say.
Well, yeah, I might think it was the other way around personally.
I have reasons for that. I think I'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, sure. Seems good.
But Gelatinous. Okay, next we have Gelatinous Protestant. So it's a 3 mana 2/2. That's an ooze that has last word mobilize 2, and then otherwise it summons a lonely ooze. So it
Yeah.
summons an ooze. So it's like an ooze that goes into an ooze. Uh, the mobilize 2 doesn't do much most of the time. An ooze you're not going to really mobilize to. I would say ooze is like the only deck you would actually run this in. Maybe. I don't think you should, personally. I would rather go for the little bit inconsistency of the only running Acidic Overlord and a Zealous Ooze for an
Well,
actually good combo.
well, that's the thing. Why would you play this mediocre 3 drop that's gonna allow your opponent to kill you better, instead of just playing good cards and then let your good cards be good cards?
Yeah, it's kind of meh. I would say, hmm, probably a C, because it has a little bit of use in the Ooze, but outside of that, even in that, I would say not run it. But it can be a good starter for the deck. But moving on, we have Glow Promotions. This card I have had to warm up to a little bit with some combos that I've stumbled across with it. But so it's a 5 mana that banishes all friendly non-token creatures. You gotta keep that in mind. If they're tokens, it doesn't banish it. That and summons a random replacement of each of the creatures that is 1 cost higher. So what makes this card good and bad is what is in the game. You have to judge each of the mana costs based on what is in the game and what it can hit. So, for example, 9 mana, it's a 50-50 between Acidic Overlord and Avatar of Peace. It's a giant meme.
Honestly, I like this card a lot. I don't think it's like like the most meta broken. It's gonna beat Bones and take the championship type card. But that's all right. I
Yeah,
think I want more cards like Robo Motions in the game that provide interesting build around rounds and are decks in and of themselves that provide hours of enjoyment just from like messing around with them. And I think pretty cool.
Yeah, the one combos that I didn't really account for in the DM video was Mind Corruption into Glow Promotion.
I
That
mean, probably don't, but it's cool, I guess. Also, like, I guess you can,
will
speaking of mind corruption, you can also, like, I guess, kill the creature with Reconstructor.
uh
I guess.
well, I think that's actually the best way to use Mind Corruption. I don't think there's any other way that you would want to use Mind Corruption.
I'm
But
gonna be on, yeah, I mean, mind corruption, like, honestly, at that point,
well, you're stealing your opponent's creature and then
yeah.
upgrading it. So you're getting rid of theirs and then giving yourself a 10 mana most likely. So you're probably going to steal a 10 mana unit or a 9 mana if you're going to do that.
I mean, that is kind of spicy.
Yeah, it's actually like it's actually a pretty good combo. Uh I don't know how much you'd want to run it though, but it is a fun thing you can do. That's like an example of a situation where we didn't expect that. Like I didn't account for that when I was thinking about
But
the mind corruption.
if I want to add one additional thing about the card. I think I appreciate it also for the fact that it's just from a game design standpoint, it's taking advantage of the game's digital nature. Like you would let's say if it was Magic the Gathering or something, where you have to actually find the cards, you would have to know what cards win the game. The computer handles all of that wacky stuff and it randomizes for you. And I
Yeah,
think I appreciate the fact that they're willing to take advantage of that and are willing to take advantage of that card space and that sort of design space. And I hope we see more of that sort of design in the future because I think that's pretty cool.
yeah. It's a very fun card to play around with. I don't think like honestly, it's been getting worse by new cards being added. Like Bohemian Stag, and whatever the other format, Stellar Shard. Those cards getting added to the game actually made this card worse because it diluted the 4 mana pool from being having like a lot of really like I think it was like four really good cards and then two real like not so good ones. It went from that to being like a 50% chance you actually get something good, you know?
Yeah, like what can it? I guess, yeah, sure.
And what other cards were added to the game that kind of made it worse? Well, I mean, Overruling Magi is one really good combo right there.
Additional thing, right? If you have a 10 mana creature, on the battlefield, any 10 mana creature, you have a 33.3 chance of hitting a Magi again.
Yeah, so you have Lumbering Striker, you have the 10 guy, I forgot his name.
Uh, Flesh Golem?
Yeah, Flesh Golem, yeah. And then you have Magi. So you have like a 2/3 chance of getting something good, basically. And you really want that Magi to hit, to slap your opponent with 9 damage again, which is pretty good. Also, Rallying Call with this card is really funny, really fun. That's a combo that I figured out not too long ago. Um,
Yeah, man. It's like so when you play that, it means for I guess we could talk about that next, but it's like for each creature on the board, you get to draw a card and get a mana, and then if you draw another global promotion, you get to do it again. Hell yeah, boys, let's go.
yeah, you can draw your
Fuck
entire deck with that combo in
yeah, and then you get
in
the
turn
free
7.
Magi's, and then you kill them.
Yeah, you
Good
get.
fun. I recommend it.
Yeah, I would say it's like a B. I would say it's higher
I
than Cry for Numbers. Do you agree? That's a B.
Can we make a new tier just called Hell Yeah Global Promotions? Is that a thing? Is that a thing we can do?
uh,
Like,
I don't think on. I think I can. I can
we need
add.
to do it. It should be its own tier. Uh, we can call it like Goofy Wacky Fun Times Yes.
Yes, it is Goofy Wacky Fun Times.
we
don't play it, not
when we
play it
post the
because
final
we.
tier list somewhere, it needs to be on its own separate tier. Okay, it's in a league of its own. Real boys become when they play their first global promotions alongside side rallying call. I boys become men.
Yeah, well, sometimes it can downgrade cards, which is sucky. But 7 mana is really good. 10 mana is really good. 4 mana, it's gotten worse. Uh, yeah,
9 mana is
it's either
is
good or
swingy,
bad.
but it's like okay, honestly. Avatar, it's not a good card to play, but like, uh, I I
Yeah,
don't know what I think about. I think that's just where I
it
end
it it
that
just
line of
dies.
speech.
Avatar
It just
Beast just
dies.
it just dies, you know. But okay, so moving on, we have Glorious Overseer. So this is a 7 mana 4/5 that has every other creature on the board has on your board has 1/1. Every other friendly creature, which is really solid. Basically, if you see this kind of effect in any game, it's probably good.
And straight.
In a lot of games, if something has this kind of effect, it's usually good. But uh, on at the start of your turn, it mobilizes a 1 or 2 mana. Pretty good. It does have that weakness to mob rule, but it is a good health though for what it is. If you have
Yep.
multiple of these out, they buff each other, and then they become kind of like a wall. It's a really good card to use in Ooze. It's a card that you use in Control Ooze. No, I mean Control MRA, I guess. Uh, and then it's really good with Hunting Party. What else? You don't run it in Bone. You don't run it in Mastery. It's mostly like a card you run in MRA. It really depends, but it's a good card. It's pretty
You can
solid.
get it with Tombstone Mimic.
Yeah, you can hit it with Tombstone Mimic and Necromancy. They're both good with it. It's just a damn solid card, you know?
I guess A.
Yeah.
If
A.
I actually sort of did a segue earlier where we're gonna talk about rallying call, and you sort of went past it. So let's talk about rallying call next.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that for a second there.
Well, we talked for like what felt like 2 minutes after that, so I don't blame you. Anyway, my frickin' other
Alright.
favorite card in the game.
So we have Rallying Call. So it's a 3 mana unique. That's a common, which is really interesting. And then it summons a Rallying Totem, which is this card right here. It is a wait, what is that symbol? I forgot.
it it's a token. It
Oh,
doesn't matter.
oh,
What it
yeah, true.
does is what matters.
Okay,
It it it
but it's a zero
it
two that whenever you draw a card and you gain 1 mana whenever you summon a non-token creature. So basically, you use it with 1 manas, and you have it just every 1 mana replaces its mana and replaces its draw in your hand. So it's really good with 1 manas in your
yeah.
hand.
I have some stuff to say about this card.
Yeah, would you like to say?
All right, so this was actually kind of the impetus for me to like entirely rebuilding how I play mastery. Like my current bill looks like, you know what, like 18, literally 18 one drops, 18 two drops, like three drops and a Gurm. Uh, and this card is one of the along with Red Experiments, but this card is also a good thing because it allows you to convert those one drops into just actual cards, and then when you're done cycling, you have a hand of straight gas. And if you haven't already just surmised a horrid board position of like one mana and 2 mana threats. All it's in addition, even when it doesn't go off and do the crazy thing, it's still like it's still like you have a bone brute you that didn't do anything on the current board state, and you just wait, and then you top deck it, and then you just go like when you have like 7 mana or something, and then you just get to go to the next and find the burn spell you need.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it's sometimes
I forgot
yeah.
to mention that it banishes itself when at the end of your turn.
Oh God, could you imagine? Yeah, yeah. But it's like I think it's the most powerful of the uniques.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a very powerful card. I would say it's an entire engine that you run in certain decks. Like you run 12 1-drops and this card, and that's I call the Rallying Totem engine. Like you just run that whole set, and then the 1 manas alone are pretty good and they're pretty solid. But when you have Rallying Call as well, it makes it like a whole thing.
yeah. Well, it's like it's sort of like this and like I talked about with Dread Experiments is it sort of applies to this. This is Dread Experiments on crack. It's kind of in what it allows you to do in Mastery. It allows you to just play just like a horrid amount of all the good 1-drops and like Stump, Skywatcher, the Medic, like uh, Beautiful, like a bunch of like 12 1-drops. Um,
Yeah.
and what you want to do, like how I play Mastery is as I said earlier, step one, play boys. Step two, kill them. If step two fails, burn their face. This helps in step one. It helps in step and if step two fails, it helps you. It's never bad. It's either winning you the game basically, or it's being a card draw that's gonna help you. That might also help you win the game. This card is busto in half, but I don't know if I would put it on SS. I don't know that it needs to be nerfed. But I'm a stinky aggro player, so of course I don't want my stuff to be nerfed.
Yeah, it is really good at aggro. It's really good at pushing tons of 1-drops on the board. And
I saw you do this against me when you were playing MRA aggro, and I'm like, I gotta try that. And then I did, and now I'm beating people up in the tavern. Oh goodness, man! It's a good time. It's a
just
good time for everyone involved, except your opponent. Your opponent does not have good time.
Julius, you're like just like the old days.
Oh, there was a moment I legitimately questioned myself if the new version is better. It's probably definitely not, but the fact that I even question it, shows how well they've managed to you know give me the sauce back for stabbing me in the back. Me and Emers. I think we're good now. I think we're cool.
Okay, so I think it's definitely an SS. I'm gonna put the totem there because it's the
Yeah,
same card.
yeah.
Also, if you kill this card, you can technically necromancy it, or you can, if it dies before the end of your turn, you can technically
Couldn't you also if you do like you sacrifice with like dread experiment stuff, but couldn't you also technically use Tombstone Mimic
yeah,
to do that?
you could technically Tombstone Mimic it, and then have it do its effect, and then,
Whoa.
but
Wait.
you'd
Could
have
you
to,
play it in bones?
uh, I don't know about that one.
Like, okay, hear me out. Crazy ass thought, but follow me along with me, please. Uh, like let's say you're on turn like 7 or something. You have like maybe an apprentice necromancer or two in hand, and you just use it to sort of cascade through your deck to find more stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I mean, like,
you'd have to run a bunch of 1-drops though, right?
do you though?
Okay,
I
uh,
guess.
okay, you gotta keep in mind that it does not hit itself whenever you summon a token.
I know that, but it's like I don't know. Maybe it's a silly thought, but I was just excited the idea
So,
of a deck that does run necromancy and does run the ability to sack it
well,
incidentally.
the only
I don't
reason
know.
I've come across that is because I double Vanguarded it that turn.
Double Vanguard. Yeah, true.
Uh, yeah. But moving on, we're
Yeah.
at Gorging Jelly. It's a 6 mana 5/5 that's an ooze that banishes whenever it goes onto the field it banishes a creature and then on its last word it returns that creature. So if you return this card to your hand with Springtrap or something, that creature's gone forever. If you have uh if it gets banished, it does not activate that effect. So there are a few real good interactions with this card. So you can Springtrap it to for 8, so that's like 8 mana to permanently get rid of a card your opponent has. Or you can like global promotion it. So it's a 7 mana, which is really good. It's a really good mana for global promotion. It's a little risky of a move, but you do banish something and then upgrade it to a 7, so it's pretty good. And then what else can you do with this card? You can banish your own Magi, so that when this guy dies, it brings back your Magi.
Yeah, yeah. Then you can do it like the turn after, like play it, Magi, tournaments,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah. You can also banish another Gorging Jelly to have that one be gone permanently, and then you get another banish. So you still get 2 banishes technically, but one of the first creature is gone permanently, and then the first jelly vanishes, and then you can when that first jelly dies, then it lets you banish another thing.
Oh, that hurts my head. I get that. I'm struggling. Oh yes, but you're gonna be able to prow out the goo from the goo. What the fuck are you talking about? That is silly. You are a silly man, Wonky. What do you want about you crazy coot?
Hey, it's a good interaction. I have to mention every good part about the card before saying how bad it is, okay?
Ah, fair enough.
Okay, but also it is you're usually gonna play it to banish your opponent's creatures, which is not the best most of the time because they can usually mob rule it. If they get rid of it, it's like you just kind of wasted your mana. But uh, but if you can get rid of jelly or they can't get rid of it, it's really good. But the downside is kind of high. You kind of want to banish their Magi, but you really don't because it will activate entrance abilities again if you when you return the creature. That's an important thing to know. So if you banish your own Magi, it'll activate that entrance ability again. And you definitely want to do that if your Magi's hurt pretty badly. And then it'll go back to regular health and then also entrance. Julius, would you have anything to say about this card?
Oh man, I can't. I'm sorry, but I can only think about that time in the singleton tournament. I was I was about to pop off with a great rev lumbering striker plus the fact that I had a great ritual annihilation on two, and then Bro played this card and I fucking died. And then I and then apparently that means I just barely got cut out of top eight, and I don't. Oh God. Anyway, this card's like a B. I don't. Whatever.
Yeah,
Let's just move on.
yeah.
Uh.
Okay, so next we have Gurm, the former Taskmaster. It's a 5 mana unique that has Amped, that is a 4/6, that when you activate it, It deals 1 damage to another creature and then gives it 2-0. So
Bah.
this is a really good card in my opinion. So basically, it kind of provides a passive every turn you can kill your opponent's 1 health unit, like one of their 1 unit guys
They're
every turn.
desperados.
Yeah, usually they're desperados. That's what you're usually gonna
Always,
hit.
they're desperados.
It's pretty good at fighting gun haunt, to be honest, because it'll just slowly chip away at your opponent's gun haunt resources until they
Yeah, man.
don't. But
Also, it. Let me. You know what? Actually, let me just talk about this in mastery first. How about that?
okay,
Um, this card is the only thing that isn't a 3 or below that I play in mastery. You know why? It's good. It's good, yo. It comes in, it gets rid of their thing, it blocks good. What are you gonna do? Unless you have mob rule, you just can't remove it. It's so sticky. Um, it sounds weird, but it's very sticky in that sense. Like, and also underrated part about the card, it goes sideways, lol. Straight up fact. It's like a dragon in Magic or something. It's just like it comes in, you got a stump or something that can only block that one. Beep beep, coming in for 4. Like that's a thing, and I've killed people with it, and I'll do it again. Y'all watch me. Uh,
yeah, it has amped. So if they spring trap this card, you can just play it again. All you lose is mana. You don't lose any you don't lose his ability for the turn or anything like that. But he does kill Garanon in 2 turns, so they get just 1 draw with their Garanon. Not too much. But it does kill Garanon, so that's nice about it. So you don't have to spend much resources on killing their Garanon. You gotta be resourceful with killing Garanon, right? But
yep.
also you can hit your own stump, so which is a really good move. So if they defend with their Dungeon Master, they take 6 damage for a 1 mana unit, so really good.
I don't usually do that, but it sure is a thing you can do.
Yeah, it depends on your situation. But
I haven't had it come up personally, but it might in the future.
okay, but it is a really solid card. It usually sticks in the board. They have to have a mob roll really to get rid of it. Uh, it can be hit by Tombstone really well. It can be hit by Necromancy. Like it's just an all around really solid, unique card. I would say it's an S tier, to be honest.
Clean S. I think let's put the Instigator below those two. It's definitely not as good as the. I think Instigator. Like honestly, then again, I feel like Instigator would feel more at home in A, but I don't know who is to say.
They're good for different reasons.
Yeah,
But
definitely. But they both go in mastery.
yeah. Okay, next up we have Humgry Mimic. So this is a 2 mana amped that has 1/3, and it deals 2 damage back to the combatant, to the blocker, whenever you attack with this. I know, Julius, you have some opinions on this card, right?
This card is a card, and it does damage and it swings boop boop beep beep. It's not that great in mastery though. It's not that it's bad. It's pretty okay.
I think
Like
it's okay. I think it's outclassed now by
it's
other cards.
outclassed. That's what I was getting at. It's like when you have Stump and when you have Skywatcher Sentry, those are you're going to be your two. It's 6 MRA slots in Mastery. Then you play two Bees. Then you play a Gurm. You play a Rallying Call. There ain't no room for that little man. Mastery's sort of too hungry for the slots.
Yeah, usually you do actually hit 10 slots of your secondary.
Always like it's not like Bones, where it's like they don't really want much of anything that the other faction has except Magi
In Mob Rule.
and Mob Rule.
But
But they're not like playing like 10.
yeah, I think Trapjaw just outclasses this card now. Because Trapjaw can. Wait, yeah, Trapjaw's in here, right? Yeah, it's right there. I
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
Yeah, we actually have it here. We've been talking about it, like every video, right?
The Messiah.
Yeah, he just creeps his way into the videos.
Sort of like he creeps you through your opponent's defenses and into their life total.
Yeah. But you'd rather play Trapjaw nowadays. He just can't like basically he's a one attack every turn that once they get a 3 defense unit, they're probably gonna kill it, which is kind of meh. I would say there's other cards I'd rather play. I would say he's a B right now. Like he's not bad per se. It's just I think he's outclassed. You'd rather play other stuff.
Damn straight.
Okay? And then next we have Hype Bugshrine. So this is a 2 mana, 1 mana army that is 0/2, and it gains 1/1 until the end of the turn when you summon a creature. Julius, would you have any opinions on this card?
Really, I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. It's like I just haven't. Like it's never been like a card. I'm like I've played it like before. I've had complete decks before, and it's been like, eh.
Yeah, I would say I really liked this card. I really thought this card was OP when I first saw it. But my opinions on this card have kind of changed over time. Like I've been using it less and less. Like I've been taking it out for cards that give me more attack, get guaranteed. Because you can't just it's unrealistic to think you're just gonna keep up summoning creatures every turn. You'll have like one turn where you'll have 6, and one turn you'll have 3, one time you'll have 2, and then you'll just be like you gain no attack. But what he is good at is survival. He has a very good survival aspect. So he'll survive a lot because of that extra health. He is not as good at dealing damage out, but he is good at surviving attacking your opponent.
Uh, yeah, but like it. I guess also if you play a bunch of things with the rallying call, I guess he gets big, but that's not that relevant.
Yeah, I would not rather play him. I would say he's with Humgry Mimic, where he's okay, but he is kind of a little outclassed, I would say. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
B's like good but outclassed.
Yeah. Yeah, C's kind of bad. Like, there are situations where you might want to run him, but I would say in the time when you would like to run him, like Wings, is probably you'd rather run him Shredder Beast because he gives you guaranteed attack, and he he can put cards in your reserve. But moving on, we have what, what is it called? Improvised Medic. Yeah.
Gosh, how
He
memorable of a card it is.
look how much he's grown up. He used to be a bug, and now
Yeah,
he's a goblin.
is that really an upgrade? Julius exposed for for bug racism, confirmed exposed, no gone wrong.
Yeah, he used to be lumbering striker. Look how he's grown.
I
Used to
haven't
be
seen
that.
this animated card. What does that look like? It's like a goblin.
I don't
All
know.
right, not like much because some of the animated cards are weak as shit, bro. Have you seen Grand Trading Prince? He barely even fucking moves, Avid. How is this? I don't care. You know what? This card later, this rant now. Fucking come on, Avid. Why the fuck is Garen and Trading Prince? It doesn't even. How could you take men's hard earned gems for just so they can animate and see this.
Hey,
The
the sloth has the best animation.
sloth has a yeah, it looks weird, but
It's
yeah,
so
man, no,
janky that
not
it's
all right. I've been
hilarious.
pacified. We can now move on and talk about this whack goblin.
Yeah, so it's a 2 mana 0/2 that it gains 2 life whenever you mobilize, and on entrance it mobilizes a 1 mana. This card, it's a card that gets you tons of life. usually, yeah. But it's not a very aggressive card. You're not gonna get much board presence with it. You're not gonna get some kind of like board usage that great. Like, yeah, you'll just gain life basically, and 1 mana on the board. There's not much to it. Like, you just gain life, but like life right now is not that valuable. Because your opponent just can burn it very, very fast. It doesn't stall out the game for you that much that you gain life. That's all it does, really. Any opinions, Julius?
Never played this card. Probably, I might not ever. But it. All right. So here's one thing. I have been beat by this card before. Pre-patch, before the cards came out. There's a guy with a really good Wings of Vindication deck.
Yeah, that's like
Gained a
the
bunch of life. Really
that
beat my ass.
yeah, that's the deck where it likes this card, I think. Uh,
Yeah,
I think I've been cutting it from it. I think the idea is it helps against like aggro, but
it really does though.
yeah, if you get 3 of these out and then you mobilize like 3, that's a bunch of life that you can gain from it. Uh,
Ugh, gross.
yeah, it does help against that, but you're only stalling against them really. You're putting guys on board, but it is a stall card in my opinion. But I think I'd rather play some other stuff most of the time. But yeah, it's an okay card. Uh, I don't know where I would put this. This is a weird card. Uh, maybe like B. It's like a B, yeah. Okay. Moving on, we have a Killer Bee of Urwuste. So this is a 2 mana amped with flight, 4/1 that when at the end of your turn it sacrifices itself.
Be
Which
not fooled. I'll take this one. Be not fooled, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a creature. This is the burn spell that dies into a desperado.
well, it's
Do
it
not,
actually
do not. It's just like a burn spell wearing a really convincing bee costume. Okay, all right. It's a 4 damage burn spell that is unaffected by mastery, unless they have a desperado, and then you're sad. But it's like, why
yeah.
wouldn't that happen?
Yeah, if they have ranged, it stops it. That's the biggest thing. But it
Like honestly, if you play around just having your opponent not be able to trade off in the early game, it's like you just have to like actively think about it when you're sequencing.
yeah,
Like
it's
if you're gonna
like
play on turn two,
it's usually like a 2 mana surprise your opponent with 4 damage. But
yeah,
it is actually real it's better because it's a creature because of Monstrous Recruiter. So
demonstrate.
you don't have creature you have more creatures in your deck that like this one is it's good in like aggro decks. Nothing else. Literally nothing else. If you're trying to get some quick damage in your opponent to murder them as fast as possible, this can add a surprise factor to your attacks that will catch people off guard a lot. Anything else you'd like to say?
It goes room, it goes zoom, it flies above your opponent's Seraphix. Makes them feel sad that they don't have gun haunt. You know, overall, fair card. Love it. Good
Yeah,
card. Yes, please.
I would say it's probably an A. Like it's pretty solid in uh, aggro, but it's not like you're doing tons of damage to your opponent. You're kind of using it because it surprises them, kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay, moving on, we have Lavoraad Whelp. So this is a 4 mana flight with 4/3 that when you activate it, it takes 1 damage and then deals 2 damage to a creature. So this card is actually really good in my opinion. Uh,
Yeah.
the only downside to it is it does die by a single Dark Matter Blast, but it is a little more chunky than Garanon, so it's got that going for it. Well, also it really combos well with uh, the medic, not 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 this medic, the other medic. no, what was the name of the card?
A neutral medic.
Yeah, the neutral
The
medic.
the traveling medic.
Yeah, traveling medic. I
The
swear,
superior medic, as all know.
I swear, the
The
they
chat,
they like to name
the
the
bro.
cards confusing things with
Yeah,
other
the chat, traveling medic versus the virgin improvised medic. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, you're right. But Lavoraad Whelp,
Yeah.
it is both treated as a flight attack creature, if you can just sweep some damage in, and it's also really good at killing like Garanon. As I said before in the neutral video, everything kills Garanon. Everything.
Your mom kills Garanon. Your dad kills Garanon. Honestly, your grandma could probably kill Garanon if she was particularly angry.
Yeah. Okay. But he kind of it's funny. He kills when your opponent has this guy and then you have it. They counter each other out.
Oh, that's fuck.
Whether you
Damn, that's a
attack
trip.
with it or you activate its ability on each other, they just murder each other. They suicide on each other, which is okay. It's something. But
Unless you put a
I
medic on it.
I really like this card, especially with Medic. I really like
Yeah,
the Medic
medic
combo with
gaming.
it. You can also Gurm it to make funny amounts of damage on a flyer, but I would say it's a solid A. It's a solid A.
A. Yep.
Like it's actually a pretty good dart. I would actually say it's about pretty same level as Bighorn, maybe a little higher, in my opinion. But they're good for different reasons. So it really depends on what you're going for. But it's good in aggro too. And then moving on, we have the classic Lumbering Striker, 10 mana, multi-blocker, 15/15, and then it's exhausted for 2 turns instead of 1.
Eyes white. A green eyes green bug.
Yeah, this card is a classic.
Not Magi. That's what it is.
Yeah, well, it's most of the time people just use it for its stat line,
Yeah.
just because they can great rev it to get 15 on your opponent, 15 on yourself.
It's like it's like the process goes, you play 3 Magi, and then like if you really want more,
Yeah,
you know.
I would say it's like a solid A. But I would say we don't really run it anymore just because of how good Magi is.
Sounds like a B to me, but I don't know.
You think a B? Yeah,
Well, it's like yeah,
yeah, I kind of agree. It's a B.
like upper B.
Yeah, yeah, definitely better than Cry for Numbers. Uh, yeah,
Every card in this list is better than Cry for Numbers, though.
there you go. Where it
Yeah.
deserves to be. Okay, so next we have Mob Rule. So this is a 3 mana that deals 1 damage for every one of your so basically this is increased by mastery, but it does this proc uh for 1 plus the amount of creatures you have. So if you have this on mastery 2 and then you have 3 creatures, it hits that damage 4 times. So that's 8 damage. And if you have 1 that's 4 you have 3 creatures, so plus 1 to that, you have 4 damage on each creature. But you multiply the amount of damage by the amount of creatures plus 1.
So you want? All right. So what this card says actually is kill a guy dead. Uh,
Yeah.
that in any reasonable board state, it's like I've never had a situation where I want to kill a creature with it and I can't.
There are some board states that I've seen that, but
I mean, yeah,
uh,
without mastery, it's gonna be pretty hard to kill a lumbering striker.
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, well, with mastery, it makes this incredibly, like, even more of a kill a certain creature. So if you have mastery to a 1, then it makes it 2 damage for every one of your creatures plus 1. Like, you get what I mean? Like, if you had 3 creatures, it's gonna do 8 damage.
Yeah.
I would say
You don't
this.
really you don't play it in mastery though. It's like
You'd you would
you'd
rather play a more aggressive card like Springtrap. That card is better at early game slowing down your opponent.
it's the difference between tempo and card exchange, card advantage.
Yeah.
Like uh, um with Springtrap, you're trying to leverage the fact that you have an aggressive board state where it's going to allow you to push in for more damage effectively and slow down your opponent's thing so you can attempt to kill them faster.
Yeah, well, this card, it gets rid of your opponent's creature, and it's pretty economical about it.
In this mob rule, in this economy, yeah, it damn straight in this economy, it's a real good, it's a good piece of virtual cardboard.
Yeah, I would
S
say.
is high, but like low S, I guess.
Uh, yeah, well, I say that because I really like my removal. I really do. I really like removal.
Freak. Yeah.
I, well, right now in the meta, the removal is really cheap to get rid of stuff.
Also, it's like one of the things that are best at getting rid of 4 toughness things. Like, sure, you can get your DMBs out, but it's like if you really want to get rid of your opponent's Magi, I guess, then she's gonna resurrect it. But that's neither here nor there. Like their Zealous Archivist, for instance.
Yeah, you want to kill
That's
that.
you want to kill it. Yeah, out of that.
Because Zealous Archivist can make you get even more of these, which having more of these, the more the better.
The more the mer. I mean, also that it's a point. That's a point of mastery. Yeah. Then you just
Yeah,
kill anything you want dead. You know?
yeah. Okay,
Yep.
and then moving on, we have Monstrous Recruiter. So this is a 3 mana 3/2 that on entrance it draws 2 cards and it discards any spell it's drawn. And then also, when it kills an opponent's creature, it returns it to your hand.
Mushroom Man. Ba 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 ba. I could go on, but I'm gonna restrain myself. Cause good.
Yeah, it's not just good. It's like a very I'm already putting in SS because it definitely does. The death blow is too powerful right now. It definitely gives you so much advantage of your opponent alone with the draw power, and then also being able to get it back so easily makes it really good. So I've heard from the devs that they didn't really intend for MRA to have as much draw power as it does. So and Monstrous Recruiter provides that draw power that you really desire in an MRA deck. Because most of the time your deck is going to be like 29 creatures and then like 11 spells or something like that. That's what my decks usually come down to. So it comes down to like 70, like most of the time you're going to get like 1 to 2 spells, and it's more on the 2 end. It's like 1.77 of you draw like 1.77 cards kind of. And then even if you draw a spell, it goes to the graveyard, which you can get back with Zealous Archivist if you're running that card. But Julius, any opinions on this card?
It's like you don't really want to mask. I mean, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, Julius, you're struggling to get this card, aren't you?
Shut the I sold it once when I was trying to get my completed mastery deck. I have two. The third one eludes me. I don't care if I have 10,000 gold. I just I'm trying to save up. I'm waiting for it to get in the store. Shut up.
What did it cost? Everything.
Fucking my mushroom man. I was sad about it then, and I'm horrifically sad about it now. Okay, it's my I'm sorry, Mushroom Man. Take me back. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm different now.
He hasn't forgiven you.
Anyway, next card is Motivating Cobra.
Uh-huh.
Just a hard card. Pretend that never happened. Anyway, next
Uh,
card's Motivating Cobra, yeah?
yeah, I'm not cutting that out.
I don't want you to.
Okay,
Anyway, Motivating Cobra, yeah?
so it's 8 mana, 7/7. That on interest it gives the adjacent creatures 2/0, and then on when it dies, it mobilizes a 4 or 5 mana.
It's Kami Cobra, baby.
Yeah.
It's Kami Cobra. Cobra. It's it's motivating its fellow comrade. I can't believe that no one's made any communist jokes when talking about MRA. It's so fucking obvious.
We don't go there here. I'm sorry, Julius.
All right, I guess I won't talk about it. Anyway, what is this? Why is this card good?
uh, it's not.
Whoa,
Well,
nice.
radical opinion here. It's not.
Whoa,
Just play.
radical tubular, bro.
I would rather play Untaming Destroyer, okay, than this card. But
How could you say something so controversial yet so brave?
see, the best. I mean, the card. Okay, so if it's Necromancy, it goes to your leftmost, so you don't even get the best value out of it when it Necromancy gets Necromancied. The mobilize 4 or 5 is nice. You just want to be able to do
Is
it.
that on entrance? What does it do?
I already
What
said
is? Did
that.
we
Were you not listening?
sort of not real? Okay, whatever. Is the mobilize on death or ETB?
It's on death.
Oh,
So it's a
so
four
like
or
four or
five.
five?
Yeah, it's a four or
Okay,
five. But
like equity.
probably the best you could hit with the attack is Trapjaws. So you have two Trapjaws and you place it in the middle. That's probably the best move you could make with it, I would say.
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of meh when you necromancy it too. It's kind of like I don't like that. But
yeah.
there's quite a few people I've heard about centering decks around him or like making motivating Cobra decks. It's definitely an interesting card. The 4 or 5, the mobilizing 5 it's nice. It's something. He does get he does get spring trap quite often because like that 2 attack to 2 creatures is not great. It's not as good as you'd think. But like you would like to play it with trap draws, but the amount of situations where you hit 2 trap draws with it is kind of slim. I would say you can play around with it, but I don't like it personally.
That smells like a C.
I don't think it's a C. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
C to
I don't think it's as
B.
it's not as bad as Gelatinous. Okay. I mean, it's definitely better than Cry for Numbers. Uh,
Uh,
I would
that
say
maybe speaks more to the fact that cry for number might it should maybe be C instead.
yeah, you're probably right.
Let's just put it at C.
Yeah, I think it gets demoted to C.
Yeah,
But
it's not even better than the bad ooze. Anyway, little hot takes. Hot takes get you hot cakes here.
but so okay, next we have Motivational Fervor. So this is a 1 mana card spell that gives the creature amped and it adds 2/2 to the creature until the end of the turn. Some of the best combos that I think can happen with this card is probably putting on a Garanon and then drawing another card. So you have a one
I
mana
guess.
card that draws another card.
Or a whelp. I've done this and cracked in with a whelp for 6 damage, and that's been fun.
Yeah, you can hit with like Whelp. You can play a Magi and then same turn Motivational Fervor it to get 12 damage, sneak 10 damage, oh no, 11 damage on your opponent with it.
Rose, but also, why would you do that?
To sneak in damage, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess when you're necromancing it.
Yeah, when you necromancy it.
Uh,
But it is really situational. It's I think because the game does not have that magic where the health regenerates, like in Magic the Gathering, health regenerates, it
at
doesn't
the
work
end
like
of
that.
turn. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. So definitely gaining attack and defense until the end of the turn is just not as good as like in other games it would be. Because like yeah, you gain the extra life, but like you still like anything over that health is still gonna do damage to it. You are amping it, so you can technically hit like Gurm again, so you can activate Gurm and attack with Gurm the same turn. Any activate ability can be activated again with it. Uh, Definitely Garanon's the best one of that, I think. Uh, but yeah, you can hit Gurm again. It's not good early game because you can't really play it early game, which I usually like to play 1 mana to play early game.
yeah. I used to like play around with it before I went to Bear Buddies list in pre-patch, and it was fun but not great.
Yeah,
It's like
it's definitely a
you can
fun
sort of
card.
do like a Bone Brute adjacent thing with other two drops, but it's like there are better options, obviously.
I
So
feel like it's a C. Like it's really situational if it's gonna be good or not in your deck.
top of C. It's top of C.
Top of C, yeah. I mean,
Top of
yeah,
C.
you're probably right. It's better than Gelatinous.
It's like fine, but
It's
you'd rather not.
yeah. I would. It's just not a. It doesn't leave a great taste in my mouth. You know. It looks good on paper, but it just doesn't turn out to be too great. Like yeah, you can surprise your opponent with amps, but other than that, it doesn't have much great usages. Okay, and then moving on, we have Overruling Magi. Best card, one of the best cards in the game right now. But it's a 10 mana 9/9 that you can discard to the reserve for to gain 2 mana instead of 1, and then
And you
you
take two
lose 2
damage.
life. You take 2 damage,
Yeah.
yeah. And then on entrance, it deals 9 damage randomly split among your opponent's creatures.
Isn't it 10?
It's 9.
Oh, cool.
Julius, you don't know the cards.
All right. So whenever my opponent plays against me, I just sort of mentally check out and while my soul slowly gets transported to the Shadow Realm. Fucking this card's cracked.
Yeah, what do I
I'm like,
say? Like
bruh.
it makes power and equality alone a card that people run 3 of just because of this card.
I remember when we thought this was some wacky joke they were playing on us. Like when they just added power and equality.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
an
Anyway,
SS, it needs nerfed. I think that just nerfing necromancy, like they were saying, is not going to be
yeah.
enough. I don't think it is going to be enough to make this as.
Really? Well, on really?
Think about it. Playing this card for 5 mana and discard, like, Bones to Bones it for, like, 2 mana, that's still really good.
Yeah. I think that seems at least more reasonable because
Yeah,
they can't gain
it's
as much
it's
life off of it.
it's more reasonable, but I don't think it'll be enough to stop it from being overpowered.
Jeez, I don't know. We'll have to see what the new cards do to the meta game, but
Okay, so next up we
yes,
have
cracked.
Power and Equality. So it's a 6 mana. If you control one.
Damn it! That you're not making it easy for me when to not make the goddamn communism jokes. Power and equality. I swear to God. Come on. Anyway, what does this fucking card do?
Okay, so if you control one creature or less, then you can mobilize 7 plus. So basically, the combo is you put Overwhelming Magi in the reserve, so you gain 2 mana and you lose 2 life on turn 4, and then you play Power and Equality while you have one creature or less to bring out the Magi. Literally, people only play this card because of Magi. They
Yep.
only play it because of Magi's in the game, and that's a really good combo. And then it mobilizes 4 for a 6 mana, and then otherwise it summons a 4 cost for 6 mana. So everything else about the card is utter garbage. The only reason you'll ever play this card is that for that if you're gonna go for that first effect. And then the other effects are there if you already have
Yeah,
creatures
it's
on
you
board.
mobilize 4 or summon a random 4-drop?
I really hope they make.
Bruh.
My suggested change for this card to make it better is to make the second effect mobilize 5, which would make Ooze better.
Sure.
But it wouldn't really help Magi combo that much. It would only help Ooze. It would really only help Ooze decks to be. I really want Ooze to be good. I really do. I really want to have some fun with Ooze.
You wanna spread your goo all over the battlefield. I get you, man.
But I would say it's either utter garbage or overpowered right
Yeah.
now. In the state it's in, it's either garbage or overpowered. No in between. It's hard to
Mhm.
put a place for this card because of how it is like that. It's either like a C tier in anything but Magi, and then or it's like A with Magi.
Borderline S. Swear to God.
Yeah,
Fucking it's ridiculous.
but I'm gonna go in the middle and go with B.
But it's also like we don't put bones to bones and I I guess
Yeah, it's
I guess I
if you're
guess.
not hitting, if you're not playing it for that first effect, you shouldn't play it. Just don't play it if you're not going for that first effect. Because
Totally.
okay, so I guess yeah, we'll still move on. So next we have Riotous Recruitment. Uh, or so we call the Burning Book, because that's way easier to say than Riotous Recruitment. Because
Riot is also it's boring. If you say riotous recruitment, you're boring.
yeah, a lot of people say righteous recruitment. Uh, but it does say
That makes
Riotous.
more sense.
Yeah, it
Anyway,
does.
what does it do?
But it is actually called Riotous on a weird
I,
note.
what does riotous even mean?
I don't know. But okay,
What the fuck? Is that a word? I don't have
uh,
a dictionary on me. What the fuck?
Julius, this is what you're here for. You're the one that can
Yeah.
look it up right now. You're not the one in
Yes.
control.
Yes. Burning book. Don't in mastery. I this is a mistake I had to learn myself. You have to play Arcane Experiment. You can't afford to take a turn off. Do not do it. Don't do it to yourself. If I see you playing in Mastery, I'll come to your house and be very disappointed in you.
Okay,
Play our do the right thing.
okay,
Play Arcane Experiments. But what about in the its dedicated deck, Burning Book?
okay. So let's
It
actually
used to be
talk about the
4,
card.
then it was good. It's not good anymore. People, wake up! Wake up, America!
Okay, let me talk about the card.
Yes!
Okay, so it's a 5 mana. If you're not mobilizing anything, basically look at the card and be like, it's a 5 mana draw 3. Just don't look at anything else. 5 mana draw 3. If you're not mobilizing, if you are mobilizing, it's the complicated version. So it is you do mobilize 2, 2 or 3, and 2 or 3. So what that means is you can mobilize 2, 2 or 3. Oh, a 2 mana and 2 threes or 2 ones or I mean or 2 twos or whatever. Whatever combination of those last two. But you can mobilize 8 mana worth of creatures with this card, with one 5 mana card, which also you put those in the reserve for 1 mana each. So it's basically like a 2 mana card that brings out. Yeah, you spend 2 mana in total for this card to bring out
Sort of.
8 mana's
Yeah,
worth. If you think about it that way, I mean,
I
it's
guess.
kind of a weird way of thinking about it. but it when you're doing that, it's really good at aggro, or in the aggro MRA list that I came up with. So you hit the two of these energized elementals and probably a 2 mana. Well, yeah, it's a 2 mana, but you can bring out two threes and a two, which is really good. But outside of that, when you're just doing it for the draw power, it's still really good because going +2 in card advantage for 5 mana is still pretty strong, even though it used to be 4 mana. But like, it's still really good to go 2+ in card advantage for 5 mana
Or
when there's not really any other card other than Dreadful Drain. I mean, Dread Experiments in the game right now that gives you that good rate of card advantage for one card, and you don't,
yeah,
or multiple
well
cards.
that's the thing. Um, uh, this card is it's yeah, sure, you could play, you probably played in Bones, I guess, also.
Yeah,
Uh, but this card it's sort in the three main meta-ish archetypes, like Burning Book, Mastery, Bones. In Bones, you just want the card advantage to get into your matches and stuff. In Burning Book, you want to use it to gain tempo and like just play more mana of threats than should be legally allowed by a court of law. And in Mastery you don't, because you can't, it's because like ma you can only afford to play it in MRA because you have the mobilize. But I'll say it once and I'll say it again. If you have the experiments, just play the experiments. They're better. You don't have to take a turn off. You can get it back gun hot, homie. Don't worry about it. Anyway, now that I've made that long and wacky rant is over, uh, I don't know. S.
yeah, but I have some stuff to say about it. But like Dread Experiment, if you're using it with Gun Hunt, Dread Experiment is definitely better because you're going 2 mana +1 in card advantage versus 5 mana +2 in card advantage. So,
Totally.
uh, yeah, if you're hitting a gun hunt, yeah, you're pretty much going +1 in card advantage, really. Uh, yeah,
That's
just
about it.
for
Moving
two
on,
mana.
yeah.
Okay, and then so we have Rioting Insider. So this is a 5 mana 2/2 that when it's mobilized, you draw three. So it goes +2 in card advantage, like Riotous Recruitment is. And
And
then
it, yeah.
it's on entrance, it moves over to your opponent's side of the field, and then at the end of their turn, they take 3 damage. And they can attack on you for 2 damage. So basically, you're just getting a profit of 1 damage on your opponent for every turn. At best, they're probably going to kill it for 5 mana.
They my opponent is like, here, have a free target for your draw spell, and I'm like, thank you, kind sir. Why did you do this to yourself? And that's been my experience with that.
Yeah. Well, I was expressing why even if it survives, it's still not good.
Yep. And
Uh,
also, like, you have to work really hard to immobilize it.
Also, your opponent
Like,
can put Gurm on it and then punish you even more than you when you have it. They can put a Gurm, they can activate Gurm and hit the Rioting Insider they gave you, and then they're taking more damage than you with the card they gave you.
bro, true though.
But this card is utter garbage. The only reason you should play it is for that draw three, and the
Or for
best
a funny meme. It's a pretty funny meme
the
to no, hear me out.
mhm.
With I've almost been killed by this in with corpse flinger with corpse flinger things. Okay, it's not good. It's absolutely horrid. Don't do it. But like,
Yeah, The only
Wink,
time
wink, nudge, nudge.
the only time this has ever been useful, I think, is in the creatures only modifier tournament. So
Yeah, I also cut that from my version.
the only reason that was good is because it would your opponent couldn't really get rid of it. They didn't really have good times to get rid of it.
Wait, no,
Now,
I didn't play in that. I was thinking of the unique only. Just
but
scratch that.
I
Go on.
think that would be different nowadays because of Gurm. I wouldn't run it because of the threat of your opponent just playing a Gurm and then making it more deadly on you than on themselves.
Yep.
So I would say it's a C. It's pad, but it does have that mobilized draw 3.
It feels
So
pretty effish to me.
yeah, it's really hard to get mobilize a 5 when I would rather just play Riotous Recruitment or Burning Book. I have to get my brain to
It's
say
like
Burning
what
Book.
card? Like you're gonna be on nine on turn nine, turn 6, something like that. If you want to actually get it
Hmm. Like
with that.
I think they made it. It used to be like 3 attack. Apparently, that's what I've heard. I think it used to be
I
three
don't
attack.
really
Yeah, I think it used to be 3 attack and 1 health.
weird. I don't. Not while I was playing. Must have been like the early betas.
Honestly, if they buffed this card, it would have to be like 0 attack or something, and probably give it protection. Like it needs some kind of thing that makes it so you can't sacrifice it. It needs that, please.
Yeah.
Something like immune, like protection as like a thing that like, oh yeah, you can't sacrifice this creature. You get
Yep.
what I mean?
Totally.
Because it being just used against you like that is kind of weird. Also, glow promotion's really funny when you play it after they play a Rioting Insider on you.
Damn
But
straight.
moving on, we have Shredder Beast. So this is a 2 mana, 1 man army that has 1/3, and then it puts the top creature in your deck in the reserve. I would say this is comparable to Killer Bee, but I would say the best deck to run this in is Wings of Vindication. Your opponent actually generally kills it though. That's the thing. You're probably only getting like 2 cards with it, or 3 maybe. 2 cards, 3 cards in the reserve at best.
Mhm.
But it does die very often to good players because they know how 1 man army works, you know? People don't like letting this thing live. But it can actually hurt you if you have it live too long though. So you can tactically let your opponent keep it alive just to keep on shredding their deck for cards for no reason. But other than that, I would say it's like it's got its uses. It's probably B. Uh, it has its use in wings, but outside of that, I wouldn't run it. Julius, you have any? You probably don't have opinions on that card, do you?
But like, no, really. It's not good in mastery. What do you? Oh man, let me get my fucking dungeon instigator. Hope I get a 2-drop. What are you stupid? No.
Julius, you be addicted to the wing to the uh to the mastery. You're addicted to mastery. I'm sorry to say.
I can quit whenever the fuck I want. Okay,
Uh-huh. Totally, totally. Okay. You tell
fuck
yourself
off.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just stop playing. Stop playing MRA. You know, it's an oh like I'm gonna tell you you're addicted. Just
I'm just teasing you.
hush, hush. I
It's
hope you are because it's it's like what?
it's your
Just
specialty.
stop. Just I'm sorry. You telling me you wouldn't be fond of a deck that gave you $100?
Well, yeah, but I wouldn't be only playing it. That's not my
I played
personality.
your goddamn global promotions deck. What more do you want from me, Wonky? Come on. I'm doing what you're asking me to.
Okay.
Don't be a wacko.
Okay, let's actually move on. Okay. So next up we
Okay.
have Skywatcher Sentry. So it's a 1 mana flight with 2/1. This is
Oh yeah, baby, coming in. This is the card that this card used to be. It's great now, but it actually used to be better when no one was playing Gun Hunt.
yeah, definitely when people weren't running Gun Hunt, it
Yeah,
was better. Cause
it,
right,
it's like it was like a megaton threat because there were no fucking reachers in the format. Like it would get in for like 6 damage.
yeah,
It's like if you got 3 of them, it's GG. No one was playing Vanguard either. So it's just like room zoom, they die.
yeah.
And
Nowadays we're in a very ranged, rich environment with Gun Hunt being so powerful right now.
yeah,
So everyone just can pump out ranged basically for free. So like any unit you have that dies turns into a ranged. So this card becomes worse because of that, and because people are running Gun Haunt, it basically becomes a 1 mana 2 damage on your opponent. Uh,
that but that's just low key something Mastery wants.
yeah, it's still
I think this
nice.
I think this is a good A. I think this I'll put this in A.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I would say it's not as good as it used to be, but it,
Higher than Energized Elemental.
yeah, it's definitely good in combination with like
I don't know if the
discarding.
7 drop boys should be that high. It should be like more, lower middle A. But
Yeah, it's probably there. But Skywatcher, if you can buff it, it's nice too. It's definitely really good with Rallying Call because you can just
yeah.
pump it.
All right. Let me speak about the things you can do to help it get in for more damage. Traveling Medic plus this card, excellent combo. Excellent combo. Helps you get in for at least 4 damage all at a time, which is extremely potent. So it's such a good card in Mastery. I'll always I'll need a good reason to cut it.
Yeah. Definitely the Rallying Call makes it so you don't cut it. But
That too. But also it's like this is what I'm talking about with arcane with experiments, strat experiments, is that you're allowed to play these cards that sort of become less relevant later on because they just be like boom going in. You can because it's like they die into other stuff, and also they're super easy to sacrifice. Like my one of my plays that I make a lot is like I got a dread experiments and a 1 drop in a board state where they're not relevant. I play it out, I sacrifice, I draw on 2 cards, not and then I try to get into my burn spells, and that's
yeah,
always potent. Um,
yeah, 1 manas in general have a lot of potency right now because you just get so much value out of them.
yep,
And then moving on, we have
something wicked approaches.
yeah, sorry, I couldn't read the card. Yeah, something wicked approaches. So this is a 3 mana fetch one. So basically, it'll put 3 creatures in front of you, and then you choose between them. I think it's based on the first 3 creatures in your deck. I think that's what it's
Yeah,
based on.
it
But
reminds me of Hearthstone, but yeah,
yeah,
there's like a similar thing to that in Hearthstone.
and you add that card to your
Uh,
hand. So it's kind of like a search card. Searches your deck for cards you want, but
mhm.
and then if you have 3 cards in your reserve, you repeat it again. So you search your deck for 2 creatures. I don't like this card very much. I think you would rather play Monstrous Recruiter, and then the 3 cards in your reserve is hard to hit. It makes you waste resources on things you would rather not waste resources on for a lackluster ability that Monstrous Recruiter just does better. Do you agree?
I have no additional points to add to that.
But I have found it's an interesting pick in Ooze to try and search out your deck for your acidic overlords.
Totally.
Because getting those acidic overlords is the whole engine of that deck. So trying to get those consistency. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you can search out Magi's too. But it is a spell, so it doesn't synergize with Monstrous Recruiter, so you can't run both of them. So you're most of the time just gonna run one or the other. So and you'd rather just run Monstrous Recruiter because blind drawing is generally better in my opinion right now.
Yep.
So I would say it has potential. The three cards in your reserve is too much in my opinion. If it was like one card in your reserve, then it would make sense.
I
Like
think 2 cards is reasonable. Like 1 card is just like that's too easy. I think two
yeah,
if you're gonna buff it, 2 cards
yeah.
or
Two
or
cards
like
is actually fair.
I don't know. I think 3 cards is where it should be. It's like a really powerful effect. So it's like I don't
I
know.
definitely think two cards would make it better, but not like you can eat like super easily. You have to go a little bit out of your way, but not like three cards out of your way.
I
Like
don't know.
like if you're going for Riotous or I mean
I
Burning
I
Book, then
I just
yeah,
think
I
I just don't
guess.
think it should be a card that you're just gonna randomly play in Burning Book or something. I think that's not really the intended purpose.
Yeah, you kind of have to hit that 3 plus to actually have it be good. It's not good outside of MRA, and even in MRA, it's not that good because that requirement is too steep. Uh, I guess you can run it in wings, but like, why? You're not looking for your creatures. Maybe if it was searching for spells, then it would be better. That would be actually interesting. I would like it if it was searching for spells rather than creatures.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting, actually. Do you agree? I
Yeah, well, it might be like too powerful.
yeah.
It'd
Uh,
probably be too powerful.
I don't know. Searching for spells in your deck is something. But it may be too powerful if you do it that way. But it would need some looking after for that. You gotta make sure that's not overpowered before you talk
Yeah.
about that mostly. But I think right now, it's probably like a C. You're not gonna run it really. I just run Monstrous Recruiter.
Yep.
Just run your Riotous Recruitment, your Burning Book, because I would rather just have blind draw power and get more value out of it than going even on 3 mana, like neutral and card advantage or +1 and card advantage for 3 mana.
Damn straight.
Okay. Moving on, we have Taunting. So it's a 3 mana. So it gives a friendly creature taunt, and also it draws a card when not blocked. Yeah, I don't like this
This
card.
card is confused.
Yeah, that's that's my major point on this card. If it was split into two cards, the first card was the give a creature taunt for 1 mana, and the second part was draw a card when not blocked for 2 mana, it would be good.
That's a stretch, but I don't know.
It would be not that great, but it would be okay.
But the all right, so let's say you put on a flyer. Oh wait, gun haunt. Let's say you put on a guy who on the ground, so it gets blocked. Oh wait, it got blocked, and then and then they're just doing. Let's say let's say a metaphorical scenario. Both of you have a 2/2. All right, you put it on them. You attack. They block.
Well, yeah,
Well, shit. What do you what's the scenario where this card is good?
just play Garanon. Don't play this card. Just never play this card. You're playing 4 mana on you're putting 4 mana into a card to not never be able to gain draws from it
Yeah.
because your opponent is not gonna give you the draws.
Why would they? It's like they just have to block it. And it's like if it's a lot like you sure put it on a flyer
honestly,
and then but it's like don't though
honestly,
because then you
if they buff this card and they make it so draw a card when blocked, it would be so much better.
that would be gross. But like they'll have to make this card 1 mana for me to play it, and even then,
But like because it's not blocked, it's just too confused. I think that if it draws a card when it is blocked, I would actually try it out. That would be an
yeah.
interesting card.
That also makes like more flavorful sense. It's like It's making your preacher like, "Hey man, you want to fight? You coward!" And then it gains draw power from that. But now it's like, "Haha! Please fight me!" Oh wait, you didn't. I have learned a valuable lesson about fighting through not fighting. Like Bruce Lee. Like makes your creature a Zen Buddhist monk that gets better through non-violence. What the fuck? That makes no sense. It's a total flavor fell. I swear to God, Emrys, you getting on my shit list. Alright, you can't be having this.
Yeah, you gotta take away
Doesn't make
that.
any sense.
Yeah, just take away that not word, and it's a lot better. Like you could put it on Lumbering Striker. You could put it on what's some okay? What would be the theoretical good card for this? Uh, that you'd want it to block. Hype Bugshrine. You put it on
What
Hype
stop?
Bugshrine. No, no. Think about it. You put it on Hype Bugshrine, and that thing survives very well. And then if they try and kill it, you draw two cards. You know? It would be an actually interesting card if it was when it blocked. Because right now it's trying to do two things and they counteract with each other. Because if it, like, when you want it, for that first part, you want it to be blocked. That's the point of taunt. The second part, you don't want it to be blocked, so why does it have taunt?
It's if at least it like I say what you will about Avatar piece, but at least it's a flavor win. It looks nice in your binder. It's like this card is bad, but at least it makes flavor. At least it's flavorful. But like, look at taunting. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. What's the flavor here,
Yeah,
Emrys? What's the flavor here, huh?
yeah, it actually makes a lot more sense if it's drawing a card when blocked.
Totally right. It's
Like,
the it's
you
it's like
put it
it's provoking the creature, and you're getting something off of that.
like that, it would be so much more interesting. You could put it on, like, Untaming Destroyer, and if they block it, you gain
I
two
don't want to
life
block
and
that
you
shit anyway.
yeah, but, like, it gets taunt too.
And then they gross.
But you did
I
spend
guess
8
I
mana on
guess
it.
Untaming Destroyer is the one card that's like that I'm not gonna block it because I don't like my opponent gaining life in my deck that cares about my opponent having no life.
Yeah, but it would actually see some experimentation if it was like that, in my opinion.
Whoa.
But
Yep.
I think right now it's a C. Actually, I'd say F. It just isn't doing what it wants to do at all. Just run Garanon, run other draw power, don't run this. It's,
Worst draw power in the game,
yeah,
if you even call
eh,
it that.
they're competing for that. These
Yeah,
two.
it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on.
Yeah, 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 please just go on.
Okay, okay. So we have Trapjaw Stump. It's 1 mana with taunt 1/2, and it deals the damage. It before combat when it attacks, it deals its attack as damage to the opponent's creature, and then attacks.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah,
This card is so fucking good. I love putting up. Have you ever felt the unrivaled thrill of putting a book of ancient arts on this wacky sack cardboard, man?
oh yeah.
Huh, it's so good. It, if your opponent is silly enough to block with a gun hunt, they're looking at a clean 4 damage. Oh hell yeah! It's just this card's so good. Always all the aggro decks.
Yeah,
Rest of the time playing the aggro decks.
yeah,
And put a buff it with medic. It's horrid, absolutely horridly powerful.
yeah. Um, is it overpowered or does it need
That's
a
good.
nerf?
It's not overpowered. None of my cards are overpowered. Yours are dumb and cracked. This is how this works, clearly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. any of the
Really showing
cards.
our aggro bias here.
Yeah, we may be a little aggro bias. I'm not sure.
No controlled player cuties allowed.
Yeah,
We're gonna get that bug that allows us to enjoy bone decks.
yeah, you're not allowed to win the game. That's ridiculous.
Wait, you wanna interact with your opponent by playing cards that shut down the game and not allow you to interact with your opponent? That's fucking wild, mate. Anyway,
So, okay, next we have Wings of Vindication. So this is a 8 mana spell that you kind of center around your deck around this if you're going to play it. You don't play it in anything other than if you're centering your deck around it. But what it does is it gives all your friendly creatures 3 attack and 1 defense until the end of the turn. And then if you have 8 or more creatures in your reserve, then they all gain flight until the end of the turn. So this is kind of like a win condition card, usually. It's kind of fallen flat recently as a win condition because you have to keep a big board state to even like take a good advantage of this card. And then you also have to prepare your 8 cards in your reserve to get the flight when the flight is now not that as good as it used to be because your opponent can just prepare tons of range when they see you're starting to pump up your reserve full of 8 creatures. Because if they're smart, they'll notice that you're doing that and know you're playing a wing deck, because no other deck will do that kind of thing. Julius, any opinions?
yeah, I've been like, yeah, it used to be sort of scary, and now it's just not really.
Yeah, Avid, he be thinking this is like gonna kill Bones or something. He's being crazy.
Yes. What are you talking about?
He's
What
crazy.
what he's smoking though? I want some of that. Like, oh boy, let me play a bunch of small, easy to kill. Hey, wait a fucking minute! They're just gonna play ogre magi. Yeah, you fool! Come on, Abbott. No better than this.
But
Come on, man.
it's definitely like a B right now. Like it's you have to build a deck around it. If you haven't built a deck around it, I recommend trying it out. Trying building a deck around this. It's kind of fun to play around with. It's its own archetype of deck because you don't put this in anything other than a wing deck because that's the namesake of the deck, right?
Yeah,
You treat it as a win condition most of the time. But
damn
moving
straight.
on, we have the last card on our list, Union of Monsters. So this card, you choose two. You choose between a Wormling, a Goblin Rookie, or a Lonely Ooze. I have them right here to show. But
Yeah.
you have the Wormling, which has Flight, and it's a 1/1. The Goblin Rookie is amped with 2/1, and then the Lonely Ooze is a Ooze. It's a regular Ooze. So most of the time, I've tried this in Ooze decks, and I've gone to cut it out because I don't actually like it that much in Ooze because yeah, you don't do much with it. But I have tried it in more aggressive decks with bringing out just the Wormling and the Rookie, Goblin Rookie, so you get the 1/1 flight and you get the 2/1 amped.
Well,
So
isn't it problematic that you can't get it with Mushroom Man, and also the fact that yeah, that mainly that
yeah,
isn't that a
that
problem?
yeah, that's why I cut it.
Damn straight.
That's why I cut it because
I thought I have like a greater discussion point here, but I guess that yep, that lines up.
yeah, that's why I cut it. Okay,
It's like
so
I think Cautious Hunting Party does what this card does a lot better.
I think it's outclassed. But I think it's not that great. I think it's better than these, but it's kind of outclassed by other stuff. Okay, so that's the last card. Any other things we want to talk about before we go?
I think that's good. This has been a fun series to do. We'll yeah, we'll have to see what we're gonna do with this with Tavern Talk in the future. But just these free videos, but I think they've been very solid, and I hope people get some enjoyment out of them.
Okay, have a good night.
Yeah, later.
Later, skaters.